Hello, everybody. Mr. Spottleson here. Back with the final instructional video of the year. So we're going to run through the review guide that you guys should have done for homework and should have turned in yesterday. If you haven't turned that in, again, you have until tomorrow, or you have until Friday, May 22nd. That is the final day that I will accept any late assignments. So please make sure you're getting that stuff to me here. I don't want us to have our grade plummet because we're not doing assignments. Couple just reminder things to look forward to or just to keep your eye out for. Number one, the quiz will be posted tomorrow. That's Thursday, May 21st. You will have only that day to complete it, so make sure that you are aware of that and ready to take that tomorrow. The reason we're posting it on Thursday, Thumper's going bananas. Let's see, today's Tuesday. I don't know what he's freaking out at today. You will have only Thursday. The reason we're okay, Thumper. Oh boy. The reason we are doing that on Thursday is just to give you guys one full day to do it and be done with it. And I want to give you Friday to maybe take care of any missing assignments you might have in any other classes. Okay, so that's that. Another thing to look out for is I'll be posting a recap, saying goodbye, final video on probably tomorrow. So keep your eye out on that. Again, if you don't watch it, I don't really care, but just kind of want to say thanks for a great year, that kind of stuff. And then on Friday from 11 to 12, I'll do a Canvas conference. You can stop in, say bye, have a great summer, wish you a great summer, that kind of stuff. So again, if you don't want to stop by, won't hold it against you. But I think it'd be neat if you guys stopped in, kind of just said hi, that kind of stuff. So that's our plan. So let's get into this review guide here. All right, first off, first two are just find any excluded values. Okay, so remember, excluded values are anything that would make the bottom equal 0. Okay, so to start out with this one, you want to first factor that bottom. Okay, this bottom here is what we call a difference of squares. It's got a subtraction sign and perfect squares on both sides. So we're going to have y minus 8 and y plus 8. Okay. From here then, I hope you can solve these and see that y cannot be positive 8 or negative 8. Okay. Because either one of those, if I plugged 8 in for here, 8 minus 8 is 0. The bottom would equal 0. If I plug negative 8 in here, negative 8 plus 8 is 0. That'd make the bottom 0. So y cannot be 8 or negative 8. Same thing here. We're going to take our x squared, leave that on the top, not worry about that. I'm going to factor this here. So what multiplies to give me negative 24? That adds to give me negative 2. In this case here, I'm going to have negative 6 and positive 4. So I'm going to have x, minus 6 and x plus 4. And then what will make these equal to 0? And that'll be what x cannot be. So x cannot be 6, and x cannot be negative 4. Okay? Those are your answers to 1 and 2. All right, 3 and 4 here. So when we're simplifying, the tip that I can give you is you want to simplify everything first. Factor it first, then come back and start doing your canceling. I was talking to a student yesterday, and it's 100% the truth. These problems, all of them here that we're about to do, look so complicated if you're just looking at them as they are. You really have to factor them and break them down and start to see basic what they are in order to be able to solve them better. Okay, so here on the top here, I cannot simplify x plus 6 at all. And then on the bottom, we can factor this. Okay, so what multiplies to get me negative 48 that adds to get me negative 2? In this case, it's going to be x minus 8 and x plus 6. Okay? Now, you should see that my x plus 6 and my x plus 6 cancel. Now, I know that there's one of you watching this video right now that said their answer was x minus 8. Okay? That is not true. X is at the bottom or the denominator, which means I still have to include a 1 in my answer. So it's 1 over x minus 8. That was a bad circle. I didn't like it. All right, so make sure your answer says 1 over x minus 8, not just x minus 8. All right, here, x squared minus 25 over x squared minus 3x. This is a difference of squares. So I'm going to have one positive, one negative. So x minus 5, x plus 5 over. We can factor this. So what does multiplies to get me negative 40? That adds to get me negative 3. In this case, it's going to be negative 8 and 5. So I'm going to have x minus 8. And I'm going to have x plus 5. So only thing that cancels here is my x plus 5 and my x plus 5. And I'm left with my answer, which is x minus 5 over x minus 8. Okay. Again, factoring everything first simplifies a lot of your steps. All right. All right, here, this one's a little bit different. Before we can factor all of this, we have to deal with the GCF. Okay, so on the top, we have a GCF of 8. So if I pull my 8 out, I'm going to have x minus 3. And before I factor this, I have a GCF of 4 here. So I can factor out my 4, and I'm going to have x squared plus 2x minus 15. Okay? Now I can come down. I'm still going to leave. Actually, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to simplify this right away. Okay, this 8 over 4 is going to cancel out the 4 and leave this with just a 2. Okay, so what we're going to have then is 2 over x minus 3 over. Now, we factor this. What multiplies to get me negative 15 that adds to get me 2? It's going to be 5 and negative 3. So I'm going to have x plus 5, x minus 3. My x minus 3 and my x minus 3 cancel. And I'm left with just a 2 over x plus 5. Okay? So, that would be our next one. All right, now we get into the multiplying a little bit, which only changes really one step. Okay, the first thing you should still be doing is simplifying everything down. Okay, so if I look at this one here, okay, 2 over 20 is going to cancel that out and leave this as 10. Okay, x to the third over x to the second is going to cancel out 2 of those and leave me with just x there. And then my y's are going to cancel out. So on the top here, I'm left with just x. And on the bottom, I'm left with just 10. 5 over 6 isn't going to simplify at all. Okay, so then I'm going to have my y doesn't cancel with anything over here. My z doesn't cancel anything, but these w's are going to cancel that w out, and this will turn into a w to the third. Okay, once I've done all of that, I can cross multiply. Okay, so this 10's a little bit confusing here. This 10 goes there. So now I'm going to multiply the top times the top. So I've got a 5, and then I have x, y, w to the third over. I've got this 6 and I've got this 10, so that's going to be 60. And then z to the third. Only thing that I can do from here now is simplify this 5 over 60, and this simplifies to 1 over, why can't I think of this off the top of my head? 1 over 12. So in this case here, I'm going to have x, y, w to the third over 12z to the third. Okay, not a lot of canceling that goes on in that problem there, but, oh, didn't want to do that. But you see, but you do see again the canceling here and then the multiplying across. Okay, now this one's a little bit different. Okay, in fact, I want to move all this over and out of the way. Okay. This one's a little different. Instead of just canceling right away, I still have to factor. Okay, so m squared plus m minus 2. So what multiplies to get me negative 2? That adds to get me positive 1. So I'm going to have m plus 2, m minus 1 over. What multiplies to get me 8? That adds to get me 6. So I'm going to have m plus 4 and m plus 2 times up here. I'm going to have my m plus 4 still. And over here, I'm going to factor out my GCF of 3 and be left with m minus 1. Okay, now a lot should cancel here. My m over 4 and my m over 4 cancel. My m over 2 and my m plus 2 cancel. My m minus 1 and my m minus 1 cancel. The only thing I'm left with is my 3. So the top, if everything cancels on the top, I'm left with just a 1. And the only thing left on the bottom is a 3. And I get my answer of 1/3. Okay? Good. All right, 2 to go here. Okay, to start out here, the first thing I want you to do is remember that it's division. And when division, we keep change flips. So I keep this first problem at 4x squared y to the 4th over 3xy squared. I divide, turns to a multiply, and I flip this to 15x to the 3rd y squared over 12xy. Now, there's a couple steps that are a little bit different here. Okay, there's something called cross canceling, which I can do, and we talked about it in the video. I can cancel this way too regarding my numbers here. So my 15 over 3 is going to cancel out that 15, or that 3, I'm sorry, and leave this with just a 5. And then it's going to cancel out this 4 and leave the 12 with just a 3. Okay, and then I'm going to cancel this way. So x squared over x is going to cancel that x and leave me with just 1x. And then y to the 4th over y to the squared is going to cancel out that y squared and turn that to a 2. Okay. Here, it's going to cancel that x and leave that with a 2. And it cancels that y and leaves that with just a y. Okay, so now we have to multiply across. Okay, so my top here, all I have is a y squared, a 5, an x squared, and a y. Okay, so I'm going to start with my 5. I'm going to use my y's next. So I have y times y squared. That's going to get y to the 3rd. And there's nothing to combine with this x squared. So, oh, I'm sorry. This is x still there. So x times x squared is going to give me x to the 3rd. Over my bottom. My bottom right now, the only thing that was left that didn't cancel out was my 3. So my answer here is going to be 5y to the 3rd, x to the 3rd, all divided by 3. Okay? And number 9, same thing here. We have to keep change flip. Okay, so I'm going to rewrite it right away. 3x squared plus 3x over 6x squared plus 18x plus 12. Change the division to multiplication and flip here. So x squared minus 4 over x squared plus 5x minus 14. Now, that was a 15. I needed 14. And now from here, I can go ahead and start factoring everything. So factor out a GCF of 3x. So I have 3x here. I'm left with x plus 1 over. Factor out a 6. I'm left with x squared plus 3x plus 2 times. This is a difference of squares, so I have x plus 2 and x minus 2 over. What multiplies to get me negative 14 that adds to get me positive 5 would be x plus 7 and x minus 2. I didn't factor this bottom part here yet, so let me factor that real quick. So this would be 6, and then x plus 2, x plus 1. Okay, now I get to do some canceling, which I really like to do. Cancel out my minus 2 and my minus 2. I can factor out my plus 1 and my plus 1. I can factor out my plus 2 and my plus 2 here. So in this case here, I'm left with on the top just a 3x. And on the bottom, I'm left with 6x plus 7. Do not forget that 6 that I factored out right there. Okay? So in that case there, I'm fine if you want to just leave it as 6x plus 7 like I have right there. If you want to distribute the 6 to both of them and get 6x plus 42, I'd be fine with that too. Either way would be acceptable. Okay? So that was the review guide there. I'm going to post this with the answer key. I appreciate if you made it to this part of the video and got everything taken care of. Okay? Thank you again for watching this video and everything. The quiz will be up on Thursday, and that'll be your final assignment of the year in math. All right. Thank you.